Are you thinking of buying a spa pool and wondering what you can do to keep the energy bills down? In this video, you will learn 5 key ways to lower spa pool running costs. Hi, I'm Annabella, and by the end of this video, you will know what cost-effective spa features and handy tips to keep in mind. So from here, you'll be able to be on track to finding a spa pool that keeps running costs to a minimum. Before I get started, it's important to look beyond the price tag of the spa. You may be wondering why, say, 2 spas with the same number of seats and similar dimensions may differ when it comes to price. Well, there's a lot of truth in the statement. The more you invest up front, the less you will spend over time. The 5 points I'll discuss in this video are proof of this. The first key to lowering spa running costs is insulation. To put it simply, the more heat that you can retain in a spa, the lower the amount of power required for heating, and therefore the lower the power bill. So if you're wondering what type of insulation is most effective, there are a couple of options. One of them is full foam insulation. You usually find this on brands that are confident with their spas not leaking. An example of this is jacuzzi spas. Why? Well, full foam encases all of the plumbing in a thick layer of foam that would otherwise need to be chipped away if there was a leak that needed to be repaired. Another great option is sheet insulation that's applied to the cabinet, spray foam that's applied to the shell of the spa, and then we have a high density foam that's applied to the base of the spa. This essentially creates a pocket of warm air down here, and you can still locate all of the important components inside the cabinet. This option is essentially like double glazing for a spa. With air successfully trapped within 3 different areas under the spa, then you can relax knowing that your heater isn't going to be running full bore and causing your power usage to skyrocket. Spa pools that cost less to buy can save by reducing the level of insulation. So although you may pay less for the spa in the beginning, you will end up paying more later on. Secondly, the quality of the cover goes a long way to lowering running costs of a spa. Covers commonly found on cheaper spas are thin, lightweight, and don't have great seals. This means that heat from the spa water has a greater chance of escaping from the top, and then you'll have to keep cranking the heater up to keep up with the heat loss. If you look for a cover that has quality seals, particularly with padded seals around the middle fold and around the edges, this will help to prevent evaporation and lock in the heat of the spa water and therefore reduce running costs. A good quality cover that traps heat in the spa water should be 100 to 150 millimeters thick in the center, and then taper off to a thickness of 50 millimeters to 90 millimeters at the edge to allow for water runoff. Although the purchase price of a quality spa cover may be higher than an entry-level cover, a sealed and thick cover will reduce the time that you need to keep the heater on. Now we'll head down to the underneath of a spa to the third point, the control system. You'll find that smart control systems on quality spas will have features that measure heat loss patterns over time to increase the efficiency of the heating cycle. If you're wondering how this reflects in cost savings, you could be looking at as much as a 20% reduction on your power bill. Adding to this, smart control systems can also be programmed to run at times of the day when power, whether it's say solar panels or electricity you're using, is at its cheapest. Pumps can be overlooked as a cost-saving element in a spa, but they actually play a starring role in point number 4 for both cost savings and increased relaxation. There are 2 types of pumps that run the heating and filtration cycles. These are 2-speed pump and a single-speed pump. A 2-speed pump can operate at 2 speeds. The lower speed is for filtering and heating, and the higher speed is used for the massage jets. This pump may sound like an all-rounder, but the 2-speed pump at its lower speed uses considerably more power than a small circulation pump, and it's also louder to run. So to put this into perspective, it's like getting a big school bus to take just 2 kids to school. A circulation pump, also known as a circ pump, is only in charge of heating and filtration. It leaves the separate larger jet pump to do its job only when you decide to turn the jets on the spa. So what does this mean? Well, the circulation pump uses less power and gets on with the job quietly. If you want to relax in complete peace while you don't have the jets on, a circulation pump will do this for you while saving you money. You will pay a bit more for a spa with a circulation pump, but it will pay off in energy savings and lack of noise. And now we come to the fifth and final point, where your spa is located and how it's installed. This will have an impact on running costs. For example, a spa installed in Brisbane will cost less to run than the same spa that's installed and set at the same water temperature in Melbourne. The lower the ambient temperature, in this case Melbourne, the more heating will be required to reach the same desired water temperature as the spa in Brisbane. And therefore, the running costs will be higher. Because ambient temperature influences running costs, it's important that you invest in a spa with thicker insulation at the beginning, particularly if you live in a colder climate. The placement of the spa will also influence running costs. A spa that's installed on a concrete pad in a sheltered area will be cheaper to run than a spa on a deck in a windy location. That's because wind blowing above and below the spa will cool the spa down. As a rule of thumb, the more sheltered the spa is, the cheaper the running cost. To wrap up these 5 points for you, if you consider buying a spa with well-placed, thick insulation, quality and tapered spa cover, a smart control system, a circulation pump, and you plan to locate the spa in a sheltered area on a concrete pad, then you'll experience the ultimate in running cost savings for the life of your spa. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. As mentioned at the beginning, a spa that ticks these boxes may have a higher price tag up front, but the long-term benefits will start to pay for themselves once you get your spa up and running. Keen to learn more about the features mentioned in this video? Jump online to the Contact Us page, pick up the phone or visit your nearest showroom and have a chat with a member of our friendly Spa World sales team. You can also head to the Spa World Learning Centre.